Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Wildhearts Wednesday video. Of course, you all know me, but I am here with a very special guest, and that is Randy from the Wildhearts team. Welcome, Randy. How you doing?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. I am excited to have you on and to talk about one of the four styles this week, which is actually my favorite, which is Ferocity. I'm even repping the purple shirt today to represent because I love it.
Yeah, it is actually my favorite style as well. I was looking for a purple shirt, I guess Great Minds Think Alike. I just don't own one, so I was
Oh,
unable to.
that's a shame. That's a shame. Uh, well, let's start by talking a little bit about Ferocity. What is Ferocity and what is kind of the vibe of Ferocity, at least from like the designer perspective?
Yeah, so Ferocity is power at a cost, right? You're paying for the next turn. You're getting power this turn at the cost of the next turn. So you're going to be losing cards out of your hand. You're going to be losing cards off the top of your deck. You're going to be KOing your own creatures, things of that nature. But you can get a lot of really good effects and a lot of power from those effects, and it caused some really big swings.
Yeah. I think also for me, one thing that I really like about it is it seems kind of flexible in terms of, and we'll talk about this more later with how Ferocity specifically kind of fits in with the other styles, but I feel like Ferocity is one of the most flexible in terms of you can really kind of pick and choose when you're doing specific things and how you want to use the cards in specific ways. And sometimes have felt like some of the other styles are a little bit more straightforward in terms of, okay, I'm playing this big thing or I'm doing this specific thing with this card. But Ferocity to me feels very flexible in terms of what it can do.
Yeah, the ability to KO your own stuff adds a layer of flexibility that a lot of styles don't have. And due to the fact that a lot of your abilities or your cards are costing you something, it does give us the freedom to make it have a breadth of what it can do because everything's going to cost you a little bit.
Well, we have some cards to talk about in terms of Ferocity. So let's take a look at these cards here specifically. The first one we have is Infernander, right? This is the starter deck familiar, which is kind of what the deck is based around. Um, and what's important to know about Infernander?
The Infinator is going to get stronger every time you're winning to help you, because Ferocity isn't aggro, but you can kind of in some ways think of it that way. Like you're going to want to use Ferocity to win fast and early because you're probably going to run out of cards in the later rounds. And the Infernander kind of like helps you with that. Like if you're winning when you play, like when he comes into play, he's going to get stronger every round. And then he's also going to synergize really well with some of these discard mechanics where he's going to start giving negative counters and breathing fire on all of your opponent's creatures.
That's such a cool way to think about it too. It's like he's just breathing fire on these cards. I love it. I really like Infernander's ongoing ability. I feel like it's easy to overvalue cards sometimes and want to keep them all in your hand, but realistically, there's most likely a chance that you're not even going to get the opportunity to play all the cards in your hand anyways. So to be able to just discard stuff, give that up for that extra power removal off of your opponent's board seems really good.
For sure. And I just love how he just synergizes so well with all those other mechanics. Because oftentimes you're gonna have to discard and when you do, he's got your back. So what is your favorite thing about Ferocity?
Oh, I think it's just the flexibility. I love being able to KO my own stuff, like you mentioned. Being able to kind of just say, okay, I'm gonna KO this thing for this other value, or no, you know what? Actually, instead, I want to play things this way. And I can change it up each game. I feel like every time that I've played Ferocity, the games feel very different. Instead of just going for a specific strategy, I can kind of change it up based on what's going on in the game, and I think that's one thing that I absolutely love about it. Plus, who doesn't like taking out their own things? I like taking out my own my own allies, discarding my own cards because what I get in return usually makes up for it. So That's always an exciting feature to me in any card game.
Yeah. And speaking of internal synergies, let's talk about a new familiar that we haven't seen yet.
All right, Skyson, the Soaring Bison, is wild and brave familiar with 5 power. Debut, move Skyson and a friendly ally in this field to an adjacent field. And ongoing, when scoring, if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, Skyson has +3 power. Ooh, yes. See, this is why I want to be discarding my own stuff. Doesn't have quite the same synergies as Infernander, but definitely a different synergy for getting rid of cards.
Mhm. And if you use them in conjunction, say like a Ferocity deck, then you get the best of both worlds. And I think the Skyson's ongoing pairs beautifully with Judge's Decree because
Ooh,
you're discarding 2 cards out of your hand, so so you can kind of plan around it.
yeah, absolutely. I also really like being able to move things around on the fields. I know a couple of the styles, and there's different synergies that work in all of the styles for moving, but movement to me is just so fun in Wild Hearts altogether. So seeing this, being able to move Skyson and a friendly ally to an adjacent field at the same time seems super cool.
Right, like with the inlet, whenever a creature moves there, I guess +1 power. Well, now the Skyson is getting that maybe every other round, or even every round if you're just moving stuff there. So has a chance to help you get a lot of power. And movement's kind of king in Wild Hearts.
Yeah, it really is.
So he's wild and brave. So definitely trigger some of those pretty important keywords. But let's reveal some art for some cards that are already in the mod. You ready?
Yes.
All right. So this card, I used to not like this card, but now this is probably one of my favorite cards. This card is so good for just early game swings, especially with the Infernander.
Oh, how can you not like the Lady Seer? I love Lady Seer. It's so good. And this
Well,
art is amazing.
it is. It's lovely art. I just didn't like getting rid of cards out of my hand early. You know what I mean? Because like then it didn't feel important enough, but now it definitely is.
That makes sense. It's kind of that give and take, right? Well, I don't want to give up a card, but if I give up a card, I can give an opposing creature in the field -4 power, which, depending on what creatures are in the field, -4 is pretty significant. So,
Almost too significant sometimes, right? Like if you're gonna hit a 2 power creature, it's almost too much. But my new favorite thing now is like with the evolution, you hit that Chrism, then you drop Latest Seer on at turn 1, and you drop Chrism down to 4, turn 1, then you're winning.
so you can't be saying almost too much because then that scares me and thinking is going to change, and that makes me sad.
No, so what I mean by too much is like it is like the feel bad, right? So like you're gonna play a Latticeer and then you play it on a creature that has 2 power and you're just like, okay, I just wasted 2. Or you play it on a creature with 3 power and you're like, I wasted 1. And that never feels the best. I like min-maxing my plays that way. So
That's fair. I also like that as well. I'm sure it probably feels a little bit too much on the opposing side though for people when you do get that full value.
yeah, when you get your Chrism crushed, you can see they're just like, oh, okay then. The next one we have is this guy, the super powerful Croc Guardian.
He is very cheery. I love it.
Because he knows that he just changed everything by entering the game. Because he just makes everybody shuffle their hand, and I cannot tell you how many times that's both won and lost me the game.
Yes. Yes. The debut of all players shuffling their hand into their deck, then drawing that many cards from the deck has been a very fun mechanic, I will say. And that's another thing that I love about Ferocity and just some of these cards like this is you play these and it changes things up every time. It's like, okay, well, maybe I'll just play the Croc this time and we'll just shuffle all our cards back and draw new hands and see how that changes the course of the game now from this point on. And
Yep.
I just added 7 power to the board, so
Yeah. And he's a guardian, so good luck with all your creature, like all your other cards that target low power creatures, because that's not happening.
yes. The flavor text is very real. It says the might of the croc being summoned into the arena is chaos for all involved. Yes, it is.
It really is. And that is why we love him.
Uh he looks like he would make a fantastic plushie as well. We'll just say he's got that charm to him.
I 100% agree. So, and then this card is everybody's favorite card, or least favorite card, maybe.
Oh yes. The judge's decree.
The fear that this card inspires in your opponents when they're worried you may have it is always entertaining.
Yeah, so let's talk about this one. So Judge's Decree says choose a field, play a random card from your hand to that field, then discard a random card from your hand. End the tamer phase. So this one is really interesting to me because I feel like there are some really great times to play this and set that fear in, but also there are some probably not so great times to play this, and I think I have definitely done both at some point when playing. So it can be easy to mess up as well, and kind of say, "Oops, maybe I shouldn't have played it at that point." But what do you like about this card, or when do you feel like this card is the best for people to play?
I feel like this card is beautiful in hands where you draw them. You're like, normally you're like, this is a bad hand because I have 5 3-cost creatures in my hand and I don't know what to do with them. Well, Judge's Decree, that's not a problem anymore because then that means you have a really good chance at dumping one of them into a field. And getting that for free can be well, essentially getting that in there without anyone being able to respond to it can be absolutely game changing. Like I have in 2 games now. In one game, I managed to drop a Croc in there with Judge's Decree, and in another game, I managed to drop a Lunos, which absolutely won me the field.
Yeah, those are very powerful allies to get with this effect. I also really like the synergy of you're you're choosing not only just the field, but you're choosing when to play it, and it's ending the tamer phase. So you get these effects of getting something out into a field, getting discard effect, which also works with the familiars that we've seen, right? Both Infernander and the Skyson that we just got to reveal. So there's also that kind of synergy. And then you're kind of taking things into a little bit of your own control with ending the tamer phase. And hopefully you're playing this at a time when you are winning fields so that you're ending and then you're just getting to rack in the victory points for winning the fields. And that is kind of the biggest point I would like to make when saying uh, that is honestly one of the times I did not play this. I would say ideally, I was not winning fields, but I wanted to stop my opponent from being able to have any further actions, and didn't really hit with the cards that I wanted to get out into the field. So yeah, didn't win fields, and basically just gave my opponent a bunch of points. So that was not not the most ideal.
Yeah, I will say though that the strategy, even outside of playing this card, can be really wild because you're forcing, like many of your opponents, if they know you have it, will play way differently. Like they'll try to like with speed burn up all the resources, so you're not getting that massive resource advantage. Say like you play this immediately, and your opponent still has 4 or 5 untapped resources. Well, now you've just denied them all that, and they don't want that. So then they're going to play out really fast, which lets you play super far behind them, and then save it for another round. Like it just forces them to play unoptimally.
Really does. As long as they're thinking about it. But
As long as, yeah.
yeah.
And if they're not, well, then surprise, they get defeated. All right, are you ready for new cards? That'll be in the
I
mod
oh,
this Friday.
yes. This Friday, this coming Friday, let's see them.
This is my one of my favorite zero cost cards. I love the fact that Ferocity gets access to ramp.
Okay. So, zero cost sacrificial bond. This is a tamer card with speed. KO a friendly ally to gain them as an exhausted resource and draw a card. Fantastic. Yes. See, and this is where we were talking about that Ferocity has that kind of synergy of KOing your own stuff to be able to get something else in return. And yeah, being able to remove a fairly, I don't want to call them weak, but a fairly weak ally, especially, you know, one or two power, maybe even three, depending on the situation. But just being able to remove that, get it as an exhausted resource, and then draw another card seems fantastic.
For sure, especially when a lot of opponents aren't gonna KO your weak creatures that you play. And if you don't have the illusion, you can't play both. So this lets
Mhm.
you basically have your cake and eat it too. You get to play the card, you get the benefit of the debut of that card, then you can KO it, you get it as a resource too, and you get to draw another card, and now you can play that first card again because it's no longer on the field. It just solves all those issues.
Yeah, there is some pretty good. I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but there is some pretty good like ramp and resource gain with special. And I can see this being used with special, and you just rake in those resources. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ferocity Special is probably my favorite combo, just because it just feels like you just get all the resources and you can just do all the things. It doesn't have like movement like Tactics does, but I mean, as we've seen, Ferocity pairs really well with Tactics too.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This card is game changer.
It's a dinosaur.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I haven't even read the card. I'm just so excited about a dinosaur. This is amazing. Okay, so we have Rapture, Nature Bound Dinosaur. This is a 3 cost, 3 power, tame and elusive ally. Debut, KO all wild creatures in this field. Ongoing, when a creature is KO'd in this field, Rapture gains +1 power and block. Whoa.
So the beautiful part is it's all, and so that lets you load up that field with your own wild creatures if you want to, for sure, make it have more power. Or if your opponent's playing a heavy wild creature deck, it gives you some board wipe.
This is so cool. I love this card. I really want to play this card so badly now. I don't
It's
even
super.
care if it takes out my own stuff. Just, oh,
Yep.
so good.
And and I mean I feel like the flavor text is really fitting too.
Yes, the flavor text. I looked out and realized she had been getting us right where she wanted us to be. Clever girl. Beautiful, beautiful. I love the reference.
Yeah, it's I'm very excited we were able to add a raptor to, or I mean a rapture to Tetrum in the TCG.
Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, so Silfunk, Straight Line Skunk is a 2 cost, 3 power tame ally with speed and ongoing. When you play or discard a skill card from your hand, Silfunk gains +1 power and gives an opposing ally in this field -1 power. Yes, yes. These are the cards I want to be playing. Where have these cards been? They've been hiding.
Yes, so this I mean this card you can already see the synergies how this pairs with the latest year and the Infernander. And it has speed, so you can drop this and then the latest here and double up for some insane shenanigans. And I love skunks.
Yeah. I like skunks like this. I don't know if I like real life skunks, but this one's fine.
Well, from what I've read, if you like descent them, they apparently are very like affectionate and loyal pets. They're just kind of more prone to rabies. So if you live in a northern state, they probably won't let you have them.
Good to know.
So you can't have them as a pet. But yeah, so this is another thing about Ferocity that we've kind of been seeing is Ferocity is very internally synergistic. All the styles are, but I feel like it's really easy to see how internally synergistic Ferocity can be. Because like every time you do something, you're gaining, you're losing something somewhere, but you're gaining something somewhere else, and you kind of see how all those pieces kind of like fit together like a puzzle.
Any others that you want to show?
And that was it. But these will
That's it.
all be in the mod on Friday, along with all of the other cards that we've been revealing in the past weeks. Those will all be added in on Friday. So like Monday through Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday. I should just say Sunday through Thursday, I guess. They will. It'll just be the normal starter deck, but then on Fridays, just so everyone knows, it's going to be all these new cards that aren't in the starter deck that you'll be able to play with.
Yes. So make sure that you come and join the Discord and join in on Friday night community nights. Uh, there's a lot of exciting stuff that's going on in the Discord and outside of the Discord, right? We have, as of the time this video is live, the RPG Kickstarter is live as well.
Yeah, the TTRPG will have launched. The Kickstarter will have launched on Tuesday. And then there's also, we have art contests that's going on. There'll be a new art thing to color that will already be launched by the time this video is out. Tune in.
Yes.
There's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. And there still is the I guess, kind of contest for people like myself who are looking to get people into the community. We have already gotten a handful of people in, so thank you to the folks that have joined the Discord and said that I referred you. But if you aren't in there, I'll have the link for the Discord in the description below. Jump in the Discord, jump in that referral channel, say that I sent you, and you'll help me get an exclusive card, and you'll be entering yourself for the TCG Kickstarter giveaways that I'm running. Because, yeah, I'll be giving away, as of right now, I am in the lead for referrals. So, going to be giving away 3 Kickstarter bundles for the TCG Kickstarter when that launches in February. So, if you want to be one of those early backers without even having to pay money yourself or get yourself some extra stuff with the money you'll save by winning a giveaway, jump in the Discord.
Yeah, it's super cool that you're doing that. So definitely join the Discord and say she referred you.
Yeah. All right. Now, real quickly, we've gotten through a lot of cool stuff, but let's talk about how the different styles kind of work together with Ferocity. So the first one I want to ask you about is what you've already said is one of your favorites. Let's talk about Ferocity and Special.
Yeah, so Ferocity and Special is kind of just like KO everything, right? Like you get the self stick, you get the Fury Potion, so you can KO your own stuff, you can KO their stuff. You are getting a ton of resources. You're getting access to Special has access to a lot of movement too, just like Tactics. So you're getting a lot of that. And it just feels really good because Special also has a lot of access to negative counters, which is something that Ferocity has access to. And Special has a lot of access to capitalize on putting out negative counters, like we see with the sheep, being able to take your opponent's allies if you bring them to 0. So it just has, I feel like, this very good synergy. And as you had said earlier, it has a lot of that resource ramp. So you just get to feel like you get to do a lot of things.
Now, talking about the I think ferocity and tactics is maybe also one of my favorite mixtures. I'll say I do enjoy the special and ferocity, but ferocity and tactics feels really cool. I think just with all the movement, and then you can have movement and then doing negative counters, and it just seems like you're really fighting for those fields a lot with the ferocity and tactics combination.
And I'd say that the most win early combo is going to be Ferocity and Might. Uh, those first couple rounds are going to be really unfortunate for your opponent. And if you get some lucky judge cards where all three are active, and they're, say, playing something that doesn't have a whole lot of power and relies on them getting to like later rounds, they're going to feel very far behind because you're going to have like, say, Chrism's 8, Infernander's 5, realistically, round 1. That is very, very strong for your opponent to have to deal with immediately.
Very powerful for sure. Well, is there anything else that you want to say about ferocity before we start wrapping up?
No, I just think that if you like a little bit of chaos and you like losing your own stuff for power, Ferocity is very fun to try.
Yes, it is. It almost feels like the dark side of the styles, which I
A little
love.
bit. Which, I mean, to be fair, Sith is my favorite faction. Don't listen to that, CP. But just saying. Oh, but it is.
So it's perfect. It fits.
It is, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Any shout outs or anything that you want to give while I have you, Randy?
Um, I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time to go through this deep dive with me. It is always a pleasure chatting with you. And check out, I mean, we said earlier, but check out the TTRPG Kickstarter. If you like TCGs, there's going to be some special promos for the TCG in the RPG Kickstarter. They're exclusive alternate arts for the 4 starter familiars. And you can't, the starter familiars are only going to be available in the starter set. They won't ever come out of boosters. So this is going to give you some, I mean, we're not doing alternate arts for, like, these alternate arts won't be available again later, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. So thank you so much for chatting with me. And I love those promos. I'm definitely going to be getting myself those promo cards as well. I'm going to be trying to get all of them. But yeah, the fact that you can't get them anywhere else really speaks to, you know, kind of their rarity. So get them while you can. Definitely take that chance. And, you know, if you really like the Infernander that we showed at the beginning, hey, that's in there. And you could potentially even get 2 different versions, 2 different kind of promo versions. So definitely take that up in the RPG Kickstarter. And get some other cool RPG stuff and coloring book and everything. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So yeah, thank you as well to you, Randy, for taking the time to talk about Ferocity with me and show me these cards and give everybody the chance to see the art and the new cards that you showed off. I really appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in this week for Wild Hearts Wednesday, and we'll see you in the next one.